Commissioner of the National Hockey League, or NIL, said they will evaluate whether to continue Pride Nights, where players are expected to wear rainbow-colored jerseys to show support for the LGBTQ community. He says, quote, players may not feel comfortable wearing the uniform as a form of endorsement, and he calls it a distraction. So once again, like a virus, wokeness invades an arena and creates unnecessary conflict.
The idiots at Fox News, like many others, cannot define what woke means.
One of the things about woke is, Matt, can you explain it to your mom? The Democrats want to get you in an argument where you're having to define wokeism as if the Webster's Dictionary is defining it.
As displayed by former press secretary Dana Perino, doing the Lord's work for faking WMDs in the Middle East to take thousands of lives.
The NHL has decided to push woke propaganda on its fans, and boy, is it.
Let's be sound and true. This is not what woke means, nor is the NHL woke for having Pride Nights. I actually think it's quite simple. It is symbolic to reflect to a marginalized community that hockey is a safe place for y'all to kick back and just enjoy a game. And look, if this dude who gets his eyebrows shaved is against it, I'm probably for it. However, what was most disappointing was hearing comments from NHL analyst and former defenseman PK Subban. When the protests of 2020 took place, Subban was on the front lines for change. He would even tweet, "We will need all of your voices to continue to be present if real change is going to happen." He even donated $50,000 to George Floyd's daughter and encouraged everyone to change the game. He wanted involvement, cohesively, uniting for a better tomorrow. And yet here we are, with Subban making comments such as these to Reuters. We cannot push everyone to be an activist. We need to be very careful. I feel people pick and choose what they want to talk about, and I don't like it when we put the onus on athletes to be activists. They don't need to be activists. I'm not saying it is right or wrong to wear the jersey. We have just got to be very careful how we push players to do things. You can support the LGBTQ community without having to wear a hat, a t-shirt, or a jersey. Let's make this abundantly clear. If you do wear a hat, good for you. If you do wear a jersey, good for you. If you do wear a shirt with the rainbow, good for you. That's not activism. It's not. The fact that we have to state that is problematic. Deadspin spoke with one professor at St. Francis Xavier University who focuses on Black Canadians' sports histories. She stated Subban's comments of equating a pride jersey to activism very disingenuous. I completely agree with that. It is incredibly disingenuous. More from Subban via Reuters. There's many players in the league that have started programs. Why aren't the media talking about that? The frustrating thing for me is there are people in the media who have the responsibility to do their job a certain way, and they don't. Thus, the professor would rebuke his comments and say this. Subban's comments dismiss intersectional, issues of oppression, and that if the work being done through other initiatives were enough, Pride and Black History events in hockey would not be necessary. If the work that was being done behind the scenes was so wonderful and enough as Subban suggests, then there would be no need for such initiatives as Pride or Black History Month, she said. Lexi Brown, PhD and wife of former NHL player JT Brown, would say on Twitter, wearing a jersey is the bare minimum to fostering an inclusive environment. These white millionaires don't need you defending them. The trans kids in Iowa, the queer kids in Florida, and all the BIPOC LGBTQ plus kids are the ones who need us to show up for them right now. Now, one thing some brought up were quotes from past years that Subban gave. If you're not black, you're not going to understand, and that's okay with us. For us, this is life. This is life for us, and that's what's sad. This is life for people that look like me, who have gone through the game of hockey, and that's part of the history, whether we like it or not, and we're trying to change that. I'm an advocate to change that. But to do that, we got to bring people together, and hopefully this is another step in doing that. I mean this in the most respectful way possible. PK Subban has stuck out his neck when everything happened over the summer of 2020. when the protests were happening, when the United States, along with many other places around the world, had this racial reckoning of understanding of predominantly white folks taking a step back, shutting the blank up and listening and not speaking and letting others tell their piece and come to the forefront and educating, reading, writing, attending classes, everything. And it was a great moment that was then weaponized. My chair just blew out. And that was just then weaponized by conservatives to take a coined term and use it as a vehicle to signal anything that they are against, which is woke. I say this, struggle is struggle. Okay? Injustice is injustice. It should be called out across the board because people should be able to live freely without having an oppressor. They should be able to live their truth without someone putting them down or passing laws to jail them or charge them and make them feel small and little and marginalized. I question this. Why is the line drawn when it simply comes to the LGBTQ plus community? Why?